Councillor Bondy, your second topic.
Yes, okay. I hope you can bear with me because I have a little bit of a rant here followed by some questions. So as we know, it's been a busy, exciting summer down in Colchester. We had our first ever Village Fest, which was a hit. It was a classy festival. We're now looking in developing County Road 50. Our council and administration and frontline staff have all invested a lot of time and energy into Colchester Harbour. I think it's time we discuss the next steps we can take to ensuring that a restaurant is open to our public. The building is owned by taxpayers. It's not a private building. That's why that's why I'm raising these concerns. If it was a private building standing down there at the top of our harbor, there'd be nothing anybody here could do. Russ, I have several questions here, and I understand that you have a meeting later this week with one of the proponents. We all know that the lease has several deficiencies, mainly stating that there was no open clause in there. But this doesn't mean that our council should turn a blind eye to the lease. I personally believe there's no excuse for the fact that they haven't opened in over 3.5 years. I'm no longer convinced it'll be worth the wait. We aren't talking about 1 year, but we're talking about 3. It doesn't matter to me that it's been quoted that large sums of money has been spent there. I would much rather prefer no upgrades, but an open restaurant instead. Many community supporters have told us that even if the restaurant will open, they won't go there because of the length of time it's been closed. There are several items on the lease that I believe our council should ask for clarification for. One is insurance. The lease requires that the leasee maintain comprehensive general liability insurance for the benefit of the town. It has to be a minimum of $2 million. I'm not sure if administration knows, but Russ, do you know if there is that on the file?
Yeah, Mr. Chair. No, I don't know that answer.
Okay, I think that's important that the leasees have the proper insurance. I think we should find that out sooner than later. My second issue of concern is the structural alterations. I know and I understand that this council has gave permission for the leasees to make structural alterations. I would like to see a hard copy of those on the lease, though. I think that we should be able to open up our file on the lease and see that there is a confirmation of hard copy of the alterations. Russ, do you know if there is a hard copy of the structural alterations on the file?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I can't tell you at this point in time. I haven't looked at the file for a period of time, and had we known that was we could have brought that information along, okay. I guess. But
I did send an email yesterday asking that we bring the file here. I knew we were going to have concerns with it, but doesn't mean we can't look in the file and see that these plans are here. The lease says inside that we should have the structural alterations listed in the lease, so I think we should demand that those documents be in there. The lease also requires that the original equipment be returned to the town. Now, it's my understanding right now that the equipment that was in the Captain's Gallery restaurant is in somebody's personal barn, which I don't think is acceptable, being that it's municipal property. We could put that equipment in the soccer complex and have a functioning kitchen, or we could auction off that equipment to pay off some debt. I don't know why it's sitting in somebody's barn. So, Russ, do you know if we have an inventory of this equipment?
I believe we do have an inventory of the equipment. We have on file all of the pieces that were in the building when it was constructed. We haven't gained entry for a period of time. We could certainly, I can have that discussion with the owners.
Okay.
Or sorry, with the leasee,
okay.
To determine what's remaining. And I do have some information or knowledge as to where that equipment is. Again, we can clarify that with the tenant.
Okay. I think it would be a good idea to get that equipment located back on town property. I'm not sure how my colleagues feel, but it is public property there. The fourth concern I have is I would like to see in writing whether or not the official opinion of a liquor license inspector, whether or not drinking is allowed down there at all. It is a commercial property, and I can't walk into my yoga studio and drink wine. So, although I'd like to, I would like to know, and I would like to see it in writing, to protect our behinds, that a liquor inspector says it's okay to drink in there. I'm not talking about selling booze in there, because we know they're not, but I would like to see it in writing. I think it would be proactive for insurance purposes. My fifth area of concern is that meeting of proponents. I read this in an article in Municipal World where situations like this have come across with municipal councillors, and in any meetings with the proponents, whether it be formal or informal, is now noted. So moving forward, if we have meetings, whether it's myself running into a proponent or Russ running into a proponent, I think they should be noted and brought back to council. I think we need to increase the transparency on this file, and I think we need to ask for all of these concerns to be addressed. And I'm not saying that the lease is null and void if these concerns aren't addressed, but you better be betting that we have that $2 million insurance, if anything. Thank you, I'm done for now.
Thanks, Councillor Bondy. Councillor Voakes.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Meloche. I got two points of interest. I actually got two requests. And anybody knows my history on this particular file. I'm truly at the end of my rope. And I'm tired of being judged. I'm tired of being questioned. And so my two requests in simplicity are this. One is, Councillor Baker, I'm asking you to declare a conflict of interest as it relates to your relationship with the two lessees of the property. Secondly to that is that I'm going to ask the clerk at the conclusion of the discussions, is there opportunity like that of a recorded vote that each councillor put forward his suggestion on resolution to this particular problem and have that recorded individually as to that being their position. Because historically we've had the cross-floor debates. The minutes are taken, but it doesn't define the position of each individual. And so I'm requesting, is that opportunity there to do that? And I'm sorry, Cheryl, let me apologize to you, because I should have, in fairness to you, previously asked you that question so you had opportunity to look into it and to understand it. So I apologize to you for that. But with that being said, I think in good diligence and good governance, if you have no fear of your position, I don't see anything that would stop us from affording that opportunity of doing that.
Through your worship, I'm not certain what you're asking, Councillor Voakes. You want councillors to put forth a motion?
No, I'm asking that each councillor put forth his position as to what his recommendation would be for resolution to the problem we're facing today individually. Their position, their resolution, whatever it may be. And have that recorded.
No.
Okay, so the concern is, Councillor Voakes, is that there should be one motion.
One motion.
Make one motion, then we'll have a seconder.
Yes, and then
discussion if we want discussion, and vote on it, and then if there's another motion after that, make the next motion.
I'm sorry, now I'm confused.
Because it's staged or something.
There
are too many pieces of it, I guess?
No, it's very simple. If Randy Voakes' position is we meet with them and give them a tentative date to open, and then we seek legal action. That's my position. And I'm asking that that position be recorded as Randy Voakes' position. Sherry has a position, you have a position, Bill's got a position, in the event he doesn't choose to declare conflict, and Morley's got a position. And that position recorded. Mine is very clear. It's not confusing.
So that's the direction that you want to go with?
That's my request.
Okay. And so that's not a motion, but it's a request that you would like to see.
I'm sorry?
It's not a motion, but a request that you'd like
A request that each position of each individual councillor be recorded at the conclusion of the discussions, what their position is. I'm tired of it. Like, everybody just skates around and they take no ownership to nothing. When the heat's on, they just point. Oh, no, say they did, yeah. That's what it is. Three are pointing back at you, though. Remember, when you're pointing at somebody else.
Councillor Baker?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, for you. Just to clarify the issue, I have no conflict of interest to declare, and I don't know where that's come from, but I would ask the councillor to prove or put on the table what that request is, because I have no conflict of interest. to declare. And by all means, my position is I want that restaurant open. If we can't open it, in the next little bit, we'll ask the proponents how they will open it, or can we look for somebody else to take it over? Absolutely right. I want it open as well. So I would like you to present what your conflict of interest delegation is.
My conflict is quite simple. You were having cocktails at the conclusion of the last meeting with them.
Those people have a lot of businesses, they do a lot of things.
I'm just telling you, my conflict
And
is you were
I'm a
having
councillor
cocktails at the last meeting with them. And if you don't think that's a conflict, then you're sadly mistaken. That's all. It's my opinion.
I don't believe that's a conflict
That's
under the
fair,
municipal
then.
act
You
to have a
don't,
drink
I
with somebody.
do.
One talk, one speaker, please.
You don't, I do.
So I declare no conflict of interest for an alcoholic beverage that's legal in this country.
Fine. Everybody knows where you stand.
Mr. Phillips, got a comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do want to speak to a couple of items regarding Councillor Bondy's comments. Certainly, administration recognizes that the lease has deficiencies. That's goes without saying. In previous consultation with our solicitor, the only way in which the tenants would be in default is if they were to default on the payment, and that was the only way in which the town or which the municipality can have them removed from the lease or have the property returned to the town, would be if they defaulted on the payment or if they were to leave the property vacant for a period of more than 30 days. Neither of those situations, as I know it through finance, has occurred in the terms of the lease. Certainly the questions of insurance on the minimum $2 million liability, we'll follow up on that immediately. As to structural alterations, I believe we have a listing, but I will be conferring, and as earlier indicated to council, I am meeting with the proponents at their request. They have some ideas and some thoughts that they wanted to discuss with me on this and other harbor matters. It's not strictly associated with the restaurant, as I understand it. As to the commercial property and the liquor inspection, that too is an area that administration can do a follow-up on. But it's an unfortunate situation that the town's arrived in. Certainly from the time I've come on board, my review of the lease, there's a number of clauses in there that could have been tightened up, and I think everybody would agree to that. The unfortunate part is that we have no real authority other than the two clauses as I speak to, is that default or vacate the property, and they have done neither of those. So that's in the very strict guidance of our solicitor, and they understand council's concern and frustration with this situation. So it's not one that that goes, law understands this, and yet they've really indicated to us that there's not much within the lease as it's written that allows the town to pull it back or to have the thing restructured.
Councillor Voakes.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. To administration, could you guide us on who the signatures are on the lease are? Who we come into terms of agreement on that lease? Who are the actual signatures on the lease agreement with the Corporation of the Town of Essex? Does anybody know that?
Through you, Your Worship, I don't have the actual signed one here, but I believe the signed one is identical to the copy that I have on my computer. And the persons that signed on behalf of the Captain's Gallery were Ken Schwab and Candy Fielder.
With that being said, then moving forward to the date, if my memory serves me right, we have been working diligently with Mr. Cady and Mr. Schwab. As a corporation, I'm going to ask, if you could again, Donna, the lady's name is?
Is Candy Fielder?
Candy Fielder?
Yeah.
If we have Mrs. Fielder moving forward to have all discussions with council, since she is the signature on the lease agreement, and with nobody else but Mr. Schwab and Mrs. Fielder. No discussions.
That's direction, Randy?
It's a request, hoping for council support.
Any discussion? Councillor Bondy?
I would like to see administration come back with these concerns answered at the next council meeting. The lease the leasee is supposed to maintain comprehensive liability insurance benefiting the town. It has to be a minimum of $2 million. I cannot believe this is even a question right now. If they do not have this insurance, they are in a fundamental breach of lease. Period. We are exposed. I would like to see these answers at the next meeting. The insurance. Hard copy proof on the file of structural alterations. Town equipment returned to the town to be used in the soccer park or to be sold at auction or to be dumped at the side of the road or whatever we so desire to do with that. I would also like to see in writing something from a liquor inspector or comparable person, the AGO, saying that those leasees drinking there is not causing us or not putting us as a town at risk. I also like to say that I don't believe they were accurate when they came to us last time and said that liquor licensing and registration application have been completed. Because I can call the AGO, anybody can. Just like you can search a business number, anybody can. I really don't even think, between you and me, that this lease is signed with a business. Do a search. We don't even really have a lease, people. Do your homework. Everybody here did the homework like I did, we'd all end up in the same spot.
I've done my homework.
Different lawyer, different legal opinion. You know, I don't know, maybe we need to tender our legal and stop focusing on this lease, because what we're doing right now is going around in these bullshit circles, getting nowhere, and our leadership is being compromised. There's no excuse for 3.5 years. Shame, shame.
Thanks, Councillor Baker. Councillor
just-
Bondy, Councillor Baker.
Yeah, thanks, Deputy Mayor Meloche. So is that a fact that we have not a signed lease to administration?
It's not a fact I'm aware of, Councillor.
Thank you. So we have a signed lease? Thank you. That's important to clarify.
Captain's Gallery, Inc.
Well, let's see who the principals are on that corporation.
Go for it.
Councillor Voakes.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, once again. Look at the point of interest that Sherry pointed out over insurance. Even though Sherry is fine diligence, like I, to get this file taken care of, I don't think we should be waiting. Something funny, Mr. Baker? Okay. Oh, you're allowed to laugh while a councillor's speaking. You're allowed to laugh while a councillor's
Councillor Voakes,
speaking. Interesting.
just ignore what's going
I'll
on.
remember that. That's interesting. Anyways, if there is outstanding insurance concerns, we shouldn't be waiting till the next meeting. We have to make sure that all insurances are in place, documented, with all proof of insurances submitted as the end of business day tomorrow. I don't think any corporation should go without any insurance and wait weeks to do that. It's just not good corporate diligence. So I'm requesting that our administration contact the leasees first thing in the morning and ask them to immediately surrender proof of insurance of that particular facility. And I'll make that a motion.
I'll support.
It's moved by Councillor Voakes, supported by Councillor Bondy, to have investigation immediately.
Not an investigation, Deputy Mayor Meloche, immediately sent to the town proof of insurance, a document of proof of insurance as set out by the lease agreement.
Cheryl, do you have that copy? Understand what he wants? Does everyone understand? You got a time frame?
By close of business day tomorrow, I suggest, and I'm also going to ask for a recorded vote.
Okay, any other questions before we move on? Okay, and we've requested a recorded vote. Question on the motion, Mr. Bowman?
Yeah, I'm presuming that's, presuming they find that there isn't one on file.
I'm sorry?
That's presuming they find that there isn't one already on file.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I could, I don't know how as a corporation we lease a building to somebody. It's like me giving somebody a use of a car or something that needs adequate insurance, and I don't.
Councillor Voakes? There may be insurance. They just don't know
Okay.
for sure.
All right, thank you.
Councillor Voakes?
Sport?
Councillor Bowman? Councillor Baker?
Support?
Deputy Mayor Meloche?
Support?
Councillor Bondy?
Support.
With a recorded vote of 5 in support, the motion is carried.
Thank you. Quite a lively discussion. Before we ask for adjournment here, I just want to...
If I could, what happened to my position on each individual councillor recorded as to moving forward? That just talked about insurance.
You can request for persons to commit their request.
Right.
They don't necessarily have to
That's
at this
fair.
point in time.
So I will
So-
start it then.
Would anybody like to offer their... Bill did, yes. Councillor Bowman?
I didn't hear Mr. Baker's. I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
You can watch it on the TV.
I don't want to watch it on the TV. When did we call the
He did say.
question? I'm sorry?
He did say...
Then
as soon as
through
you
the
made-
clerk, can I have it repeated, please, what his position was? Mr. Baker's position?
Through your worship, his position on what, Councillor Voakes?
On his position on a resolution to the Harbor Restaurant concern.
Talking about the recorded vote?
Actually, when I was declaring no conflict of interest, at that point in time, I give my position on where I'd like to stand with the restaurant opening, and I gave that. Certainly, it's recorded for TV, but however, for your convenience, Councillor Voakes,
Yeah,
I'll
please,
repeat that
thank you.
again for you since you weren't listening at the
Yeah, I
time.
must not have been paying attention.
So I said that on my position is I want that restaurant open at all costs. I want to work with the proponents to get it open, and if not, let's find somebody who will open it. That was my position.
That's not a position, that's a quote. The position is, what are you going to do to get it open? What's your action?
You know, I'm not debating with you here. I don't want, just your political movements here is not for this particular forum.
So, Councillor Voakes, it's not a back and forth. Sorry. Councillor Bowman, did you have the floor?
Just a couple comments, and it's basically like, for the 3.5 years now that we've been dealing with the proponents, we've had a lease in place. They've been paying the lease on a regular basis, or I presume they've been paying it on a regular basis, so they're up to date on their payments. The problem is, it's not open. And through different negotiations, we've failed to come up with a plan to get them to open it. And if we look at the lease, the way it's written, there is no real teeth in there to make them open it. And unless we spend huge amounts of money trying to find legal loopholes into the contract or lease, whatever you want to call it, the bottom line is we want the restaurant open. And if we're going to get it open, it's probably not going to happen in the courts. It'll happen with some negotiation of some sort. So far, that's gone no place, but as I said, it's still an ongoing thing, and hopefully someday somebody will come to some common sense approaches that we can come up with an agreement that does work and get the place open and make it happy for everybody. But the bottom line is, he has a lease, and he's been paying the lease agreement on that lease according to the requirements of that lease. So, and who would ever think that you'd have to put a clause in a lease to have it open on a certain date?
Thanks, Councillor Bowman. And just to comment from myself, we asked our administration to go back and get legal counsel on what our stand is, whether we were going to pursue it or not. What could we do? Could we force the current tenant out, or could we not? The legal advice came back that the lease wasn't written in a way that we could force them out, just as Councillor Bowman was saying. So my question to administration, and I'm not sure if I did that in front of council or not, but my question was, what would be the suspected bill to try and force this to happen, because there'd be pending legal action. The proponents who are leasing at the current time have put a lot of money. Whether we know the dollar amount or not, we've been told that it's quite a high figure, and over 100,000. And there's a chance that we'd be committed to paying that money back. And if we said no, we could fight it, but again, it could cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars to fight it in court. It could be a number of years before we'd have that that building available to us pending legal action. I think we'd have a difficult time trying to find another tenant if they knew that there was legal action being taken. They wouldn't know whether they were going to be there for a month or 3 months or 2 years, and wouldn't know whether or not they should commit themselves to the operation. So from my stand right now, I think the best thing that we could do is to try and negotiate a sooner rather than a later opening of the restaurant. I don't want to see it cost the taxpayers. I'm frustrated as all of our council is. I'm as frustrated as the proponents that are leasing the building. They're saying the same thing. They're frustrated as well that they don't have it open. I mean, it's not our fault the building is not open. It's the persons that are leasing. It's their fault that it's not open, so they could end the frustration. But for whatever reasons, it's not happening. And again, I point back to the lease. We don't have a lease that tells us that we can remove these tenants. That's our legal counsel telling us that. And perhaps there are some loopholes. Sherry's pointed some things out. Maybe we can take a look at those things to see whether or not that could possibly change the situation. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to make this a legal battle that will keep that restaurant open for 5 to 7 years, maybe in courts. Not having a tenant that may want to come in following up, and not having that restaurant available to taxpayers and boaters and the like. So that's my stand. Thank you. Any further comment on the Harbor Restaurant? Sherry, Councillor Bondy.
Thank you, Your Chair. I would like to see the town equipment returned. I'm going to sound like a broken record here. Town
Councillor
equipment...
Bondy, is this something new or is this repeat?
I want it on paper, the things that I am asking for.
Okay, I believe that our CAO has copied everything down.
Does he have the things?
Yeah. And everybody knows, you've said it twice already,
Okay,
so I'm
I would like to see that at our next council meeting. I also think that that we perhaps should look at maybe different legal advice, because all lawyers are not created equal, and there are serious legal loopholes in this lease. If they do not have insurance, they should be out. And I like, these individuals, I don't have a problem with them personally. It is not personal. If Brenda and Omar were there, I would have the same problems with them leasing the building. It's not a personal thing, it's a business thing. We have spent millions of dollars down in, not millions, but a lot of money down in the Colchester Harbor area. And if we can't open a restaurant, then we've got something wrong here. And that's all. As long as you have on the record the things that I think our public want. And just to be clear here, I'm not speaking because I'm me. I am speaking for the people that talk to me. Wherever I go, at the Harrow Fair, I got asked probably 10 times. Do you think our frontline staff down there have an easy time, explaining this? And I think, contrary to what you said there, Deputy Mayor, that other people would take this over. And I think that because the people that are down there, even if they intend to open it, there are going to be issues. Because people are already telling us, they told our mayor that they want to boycott it. It is not speculation. When 100 people tell you that they're not going to go there, then 100 people tell you, whether it's going to be all outsiders. That business is a difficult business. I waitressed there 4 to 5 years before when Mr. Rod Hammond owned it. It is a seasonal business. And to make it work, you have to like the restaurant business. I can admit when I don't do something well, and I can walk away. But these people need to admit that they're not doing this well, and they need to walk away.
Thank you, and I think we've had enough, Councillor Voakes, everyone's had an opportunity to talk on this.
If I could, I would suggest that 3 positions I would take, but I didn't clarify my exact position. I did it.
Okay, Councillor Voakes, I'm going to give you one last opportunity to declare your...
I appreciate it.
Yes.
First of all,
I just don't want repeat of what you've already said.
Thank you, Councillor Bondy. One is we meet with Mrs. Fielder. Second is that we get a second opinion, because there has been some dialogue that would suggest that another legal advisor would read that lease agreement in a total different aspect. There's no doubt about that. We pursue a tentative meeting once again, and for the record, that was something that I had asked at the last meeting, which they have declined to do that for whatever reason. If the envelope is moving forward, I don't understand the harm in the foul meeting, and for whatever reason, they've declined in doing that. And in the event that, and further to that, I'm suggesting that a tentative date, again, once be put in place. I have asked for a tentative date, probably starting 1 year into this 3-year problem we've had. So a tentative date would guide us on, and them too, on an opportunity open, and all of those endeavors fail. I'm encouraging council, irrelevant to the cost, to seek legal action. And I hear you, Councillor Meloche, Deputy Mayor Meloche, as it relates to the financial stress it would cause the taxpayer. I understand that. I truly do. But at the same time, there just comes a point in a corporation's life, win, lose, or draw, you got to stand up, wiggle your toes into the sand a little bit, and take a position. And I don't think there's a taxpayer out there that would be disgruntled at us, knowing this file, that would say, how dare them? How dare them? I think they would see is as a good, firm, diligent council administration that is all done taking somebody else's guff, if you will. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think we beat this one to death tonight, so I'm going to end it here, and I'm going to ask for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Moved by Councillor Voakes, supported by Councillor Bondy. All in favor? That motion's carried.